Good afternoon, everybody. It's 4 Central European Standard Time, so it's about time we start with a webinar TOPdesk Mobile. I will give a short introduction about what we're going to talk about later, but first some general stuff that we need to talk about before we get started. Starting off with who am I? I'm Niels, the guy you see on your screen. I'm a product owner at TOPdesk and currently working on the mobile project. And I will guide you through the webinar today. Yeah, I've been working on mobile for a while now. We did the research, and now I'm working with development to get this product off the ground. So I hope to give you some information today about what we are doing and what we will be doing in the future. Some remarks. You can ask your questions today in the chat. My colleague Sanne, now popping up on the screen, will answer them. She's not completely in the whole mobile topic, so it might be that there are some questions that she cannot answer, but we'll get back to you after the webinar. You also receive a recording afterwards. This is something we'll send by email, and you can reach out to all of us if you need any more information after the webinar as well. We'll have some contact points at the last slide. So starting off, what we're going to talk about. First, we'll have a small introduction. We did some research, so we'll talk about our findings with that. The plan, so what we will be doing and what we are doing. A short demo of the product, what we currently have, and what we will be doing in the future, so going forward with the product. First of all, the introduction. The first part of our story, this is something we heard a lot. We need mobile. And not only our customers, but also our colleagues. So we set out to do some research because we had something. On the left-hand side, you see our current mobile application that we still deliver to our customers. And on the right-hand side, our self-service portal that's also available on mobile. But we want to know what is exactly wrong with this before we get started on something new. So we did some research and we tried to pinpoint the pain points, so to say. And that's how we did some research. So generally speaking, TOPdesk users can be divided in 3 groups, being end users, managers, and operators or agents. And these users are in different quantities. As you can imagine, end users are way more voluminous than, for example, operators and managers, because it's just a smaller part of a company. There's also an intensity in usage. So for example, an end user only submits some tickets, maybe does some searching in the knowledge base, and that holds the same for managers. What we see is that they mostly do checkups on reports, see if everything is picked up, and then we lastly have the operators that are very intensive users. These people are mostly during the week, during the work week, they work a lot with TOPdesk. And that's a very intensive use case. The first 2 are broadly covered by the self-service portal that's responsive right now. Though it's not perfect, we do think that there's a lot of cases that are already covered. So we decided to look further into the operator side of things, because that's a very intensive use case. And if people are not happy there, it really affects their work environment. So if you look at the daily work of an agent on the go, as we call it, you basically see that they need to do work on incidents, for example, other tasks. And what you see is that they need to deploy and access a TOPdesk on their mobile device. When they have deployed that TOPdesk, you'll see that they need to choose tasks from a checklist of all the things that need to be done. They handle the task, so they solve the incident, or they do the maintenance, or solve the change. And then they go back to the overview, see what's on the location that needs to be done, and then log out. What we want to be able to is that these people are able to do their daily job on site with this solution. So that was the aim we have for the project. And when we talk to these operators or customers, they really came down to 7 of these pain points. And the questions we got is, we cannot really filter properly. So we want to get certain tasks out of our system, but we're not really able to. The same holds for the remember login details. There was a really pain, for example, with when I'm on a job, I put the phone away, and then sometimes the mobile interface we have logged out. And that's something that's not acceptable, because if you have to log in every time you want to do something, it's really interrupts your workflow. On top of that, there was the deployment issue, which kind of ties into point number 2. It was really hard to go back to your mobile environment because you had to type in the URL, which is not very convenient. And there's also the use case that people are working in places that do not have stable internet. So you can, for example, imagine working in a basement with your mobile device, and just having not having enough coverage to work properly there. Right now, the application basically just disconnects, and then you lose your data, and that's not something that's very suitable if you're working like that. On top of that, point 5, there's not all tasks were available, meaning that, for example, the changes were missing. That's something we heard a lot, so we'll be working on that. And there's also not the option to make a photo for the work you're doing. So if you solve an incident or need some more information for your colleague, lots of people archive that with a picture, and that's something we want to provide for you. On top of that, there's the push notifications. Are there any high priority things coming in? You really want to be updated because it needs to be picked up soon, and that's something a push notification can help you with. When you look at the solutions for this, we will be building an installable web app, which basically is a web application or a website that behaves like a native app. And that's a lot of things can already be covered with that. So, for example, remembering the login details, deployment will be much easier, and also the push notification is something we can provide with that. If you look at the filtering, we really want to look into having a simple filtering system that you can get all of your tasks out of. So you'll never be looking for anything anymore. We also will be making available a change management module, mostly change activities, and also the task and workflow system we're currently working on that will eventually replace all the process modules you currently have, such as incidents and operational activities. And lastly, point 6, it's the photos and attachments on the incident card. As said, you want to make a picture when your work is finished, or if you want to document something, and that's something we will be providing. And I will show you that later in the demo. A short question, what functionality do you need most from TOPdesk on your mobile device? We've been doing a lot of research, but it's good to ask this question and see what you think. So if you can provide the answer in the chat with starting with next, we will be answering some of those questions later. So moving on to the plan. Basically what we set up with the problem statements in mind, we want to work on this solution, and we plotted the pains on those daily workings, which ended up in our first product, and that's what I'll be demoing today. So if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see the pains we mentioned, and you'll see in the right-hand side, you'll see short demo. Starting with deployment and the installing, what you will get is a link to our overview, basically, that you'll be able to add to your home screen. It will, your device will install this thing, and it will allow you to have easy access to your app, basically. As you can see, you can put it on your home screen for easy access, and that will allow you to get to do quite quickly. And this is where we will publish basically all the task modules you have. The task will look something like this: basic information that you need to solve an incident, everything that's communicated, and also the opportunity to give a response to that. So the demo is now looping. So I'll go further to the next point. As said, we are working on filtering. For now, it's a really basic implementation of. You're able to look at the branches. So for example, if you have multiple locations in your TOPdesk, you'll be able to provide that. See what's going on those locations. You can look at what's assigned to which group. And that already gives you a basic way to get to the task you need to do. What we're showing right now on the screen is how you can handle an incident. So you can document something with a picture, but also change the status. So you can cover your whole incident, being that you can change the status to closed when you're actually done with everything. The emails you trigger normally are also triggered, and that's something everything is covered and provided with that. So lastly, the offline availability. Right now we have technical proof of concept. So if you change to flight modus, as you see, you will get a pop-up with no internet connection. Nothing is really lost, but you cannot browse between the different screens just yet. We'll be working on that later. So that's planned for a later point in time. Talking about the planning, there's a lot of stuff to do. We do realize that, so I want to give you a bit of insight on what's exactly going on. So here we have planning for the next half year. Of course, it's preliminary, so it's subject to change. If there's a lot of feedback that we did not expect, we can of course change things in priority, but I don't expect anything crazy to change there. Maybe some functionalities that will be postponed or be done a bit quicker than we initially planned. So what we did in Q4 last year was really taking the pictures, adding the attachments. iOS was something we really need to work on separately, so we worked on that, making sure that worked properly. We did the basic filtering, and we made a general design for the user experience. Looking at Q1 moving forward, where we are now, we will be improving the incident management card we have on base of the feedback you guys provide. On top of that, we will also start with the simple change tasks as well as the change activities. We chose to do the simple changes first because it's very similar in the way of working to incident management, so it's really quick win, so to say, functionality wise. It will also help us learn how to do these things. Lastly, for Q2, planned are the operational activities and some general improvements. You can think of the things like push notifications, maybe some general user interface, things that need to be improved. But we really want to set the basis first with having all the tasks available and then moving on and improving on that later. So we also have user groups. In Q4, we basically mostly tested with a selected beta user group. And in Q1, we want to really launch the incident management product as you just saw it, which you will receive an email about later. We also want to start using a test user group that's a bit smaller. These will be mostly focused on change management. Moving on to Q2, we want to do the same thing with operational activities. Have the change management users as they want, working on that, and then testing and getting feedback with operational activities and seeing how that moves forward and working with the feedback we get. Then the second question, what thing should we deliver first if you could pick one item? This is a question we want to ask because it really helps us prioritize the things we start building. So again, type the answer by next, and then your message in the chat. So if you guys were able to type an answer, we'll move forward. Wrapping up, I got some answers from my colleague Sanne, who's in the chat. Things you mentioned that we should deliver first are the change activities and incident management. We'll look into that later, exactly what you mean by that. I got all the answers from Sanne, so that's good. And what functionality you need most, that was the first question we answered, was asset management. So you can update the status of an asset as well as the location of that thing. On top of that, there's also changing operators, I see, and also operation management. So I think that's already quite congruent with the planning we have. So we hope we can make a lot of strides and deliver that to you as soon as possible. So if you want to be the first users, you can subscribe on page.topdesk.com/mobile. There's below on the page, there's a form. If you fill that one out, you will receive an email probably next week about how you can test it. We're very curious about your feedback. So we want to know what you think. So if you open the thing, you'll see a golden text balloon, and that will open up a form with feedback. So you can directly let us know what you think. All these pieces of feedback will be in my inbox, so I'll handle them personally. So that should be good. To stay tuned for feature and other small updates, I will be updating productroadmap.topdesk.com. There's a small topic about mobile incidents. This is where I'll release all the small features. If there's any big updates, I will do that via page.topdesk.com/mobile. We'll also publish the vision here, so that's more the high overarching topics we'll discuss there. I think that's it for now. I really hope it was informative to you, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye bye.